I am recording. Oh, wait. No, I'm not.
Wrong.
Now I'm recording. It's been a little while.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 630th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. I am back. Been a stressful last few weeks, but I'm happy to be here.
Happy you're here, too. Also happy that Greg is here.
I'm here. I'm back from Gen Con, and I will do my mandatory. There's Pokemon stuff at Gen Con. Here's the thing. If you're looking for back Elite Trainer boxes, like sealed Elite boxes from like whenever they started that, Gen Con is the place to go. I saw so many booths that had like complete sealed product, and all I could say was, wait till I get my X-ray machine in here. Then this price tag you put on here will be over with.
Forgot about the X-ray machine. Yeah, that's... I'm sure that'll come up again this year.
Yeah.
This is the last episode before the World Championship in Honolulu, Hawaii, which I'll be there. I'll be live streaming. I'll be posting photos, videos, all that stuff. If you're a patron, I didn't mean to start the podcast with an ad, but if you're on Patreon or if you're a patron, there will be behind the scenes stuff that I'll be posting daily on Patreon. So if I don't know, patreon.com/PKMNcast, if you want to do that. But yeah, I leave for Hawaii soon. Just my standard FTC disclosures. Pokemon Company is paying for my flight and my hotel. They do require me to do one YouTube video, one live stream, and I think 3 Twitter posts. Those will be disclosed as they do. We do talk about Hawaii almost every week. I'm not getting paid to do that. We would be covering Hawaii regardless because it's the World Championship. But if Pokemon paid for this podcast, there would be something here. They're not paying for this podcast. So I can say BDSP is bad. It's a terrible game. Do not buy it. All right, now that we've made it through there. Pokemon Sleep, a good game.
A game.
It still exists, and it's still doing well.
If Bobby was here, he'd be excited.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That is true. I did get... Is it Florigato? Is that the middle one? Yeah, yes. I got one. Just showed up. Was hanging out. So I said, why don't you join the team?
Nice. I've been playing on my tablet.
Oh, yeah. You putting that M4 tablet under the pillow?
Actually,
next to your pillow, letting it exist.
So in Slack, Al sent a picture of Pokemon Sleep on a fold-open Google Android phone. Mm-hmm. And it looked amazing because you could see the entire campsite just on the screen without having to scroll left or right. And I immediately went, yes, I want that. That looks incredible. That looks like the ideal play experience. And then I put it on my tablet, and it is locked into portrait mode. So you can't do that. You still have to scroll.
Does it at least look good?
Yeah, it looks fine. It just looks like a big phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Best laid plans.
That's a bummer that you can't flip it horizontal.
Right? Because it looks amazing when it's horizontal.
Well, you wouldn't flip it horizontal. What are you saying you can't flip it? You wouldn't. You'd be like the 9. I'm happy that it's locked in this horrible portrait mode.
No, when I use my iPad twice a year, I do use it horizontally because it's attached to the keyboard thing, the keyboard attachment. Mm-hmm. I just use it as a smaller computer that can't do nearly as much as a computer can. And then I move to my computer because it can do more.
That's
pretty much it. So you're not sleeping with your iPad under your pillow?
I currently am, just because the setup process... The process of transferring your account is annoying.
Doesn't that hurt? Isn't that heavy?
No, it's fine. I It's fine. A little complicated, but it's
I'm
more
also here to report that
it's more vertical than under the pillow. It's like next to the
it's
pillow,
next to it.
propped up. Yeah, but it also means that I can keep using my phone as I'm going to sleep.
Oh, so that's a benefit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have the Go Plus Plus, even though Kaiju stepped on it the other night and turned it off again.
Yeah, my Plus Plus is under my bed somewhere.
What is it doing under your bed?
Hannah
It
disappears.
fell off the side.
Disappears for 3 weeks. Comes back to like, I'm using an iPad now. Go plus on it.
Like, this is the wildest absence in a long time. What? What do you...
It fell off the side of the bed, and there's a wall there, and it's annoying, and I'm probably moving soon, and I'll just get it then.
Okay. Well, there's 2 events that have been announced. The first event is Water Week, and then the second event is Suicune is coming. So we'll just run through these events.
I feel like those should be more related.
They are, because they want
are.
you to get water Pokemon for the Suicune event, which Suicune will be on green grass. So the water event will take place on Monday, August 19th. So not this week. You're listening to the podcast. This podcast comes out on the 12th. We'll go for a week. It will appear in all areas, minus some Pokemon only appear in some areas. So they're introducing Wooper and Quagsire. We don't know anything about what Wooper and Quagsire can do, but those are the new Pokemon. I don't know. To me, they kind of seem like berries. Like if I was to guess, if I'm looking at all the water Pokemon, we only have like the Totodile line, I think, are mostly berries. Everything else seems very ingredient or skill based. But anyways, you'll have a greater appearance of Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise, Psyduck, Golduck, Slowpoke, Slowbro, Vaporeon, Totodile, Croconaw, Feraligatr, Wooper, Quagsire, Slowking, Quaxley, and Quaxwell. Because Quackwaval is technically not water in this game, which is weird to think about. Well, not weird, but makes sense. Green grass is going to pretty much have everything I just named except for Slowking and one other Pokemon in this list. Scion Beach is going to have everything I named. Taupe Hollow, if you decide to go there, Hannah, that's your favorite. You get only Wooper and only Quagsire.
But those are the new ones, right?
Yeah,
so that's
those
like
are the good ones to
min-maxing
go
right
for.
there.
Yeah. So if you do have a good Squirtle and a good Totodile and maybe a couple other water Pokemon, you might want to go to Taupe Hollow. Snowdrop will just have Psyduck, Slowpoke, and Slowbro. Maybe if you... I feel like the only reason you would go there is if you care about Psyduck, because
Except you can get it elsewhere where you can also get Wooper, so...
Yeah, but I guess you would go there if you found out Wooper was bad, and you're like, I don't want Wooper to take away from my Psyduck, maybe. And then Lapis will have the Squirtle line, Psyduck, Slowbro, Slowpoke, Quaxley, and Quaxwell. I think I'm going to go to Taupe Hollow because I have a good... I know. I'm so close to getting this Pupitar to Tyranitar, and I just want that to happen. Also, I have a good Blastoise, and I have a good Feraligatr, and I have a good Slowking. So...
You're kind of good.
Yeah, I'm really good. I don't believe in the Psyduck meta.
I mean, as in, you don't think it should exist, or
no? I think I think it just takes. Even me paying $10 a month to this game, I don't have enough skill seeds to put into it, and even if I did, I would rather just put it into other Pokemon that I like enjoy using.
Yeah, no using a Master Biscuit on a Golduck for you.
Yeah, the old days of that has passed.
I did it once, and I don't have to relive it again.
We're saving Master Biscuits for Dedennes or Cramorants, or I've been on Lapis for the last 3 weeks. I've seen like one Ralts. It's been infuriating. People like Wooper, though. I think if they really wanted to shake it up, they would have done both Whoopers.
Yeah,
and
I was
gave us
about to say, people like Clodsire much
Mhm.
more than Quagsire, I think.
Yeah.
Clodsire's a hit. But Whooper is good. Both
Clodsire
Whoopers.
would definitely be on Topala.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
He
Clodsire would
be
make
there.
Topalo the best for sure. Just always.
Topalo usage through the roof if Clodsire was added. We don't have a hard date for Suicune here, but they usually give a week after Water
Mhm.
Week.
So like
And
start of September, because it says beginning early September.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
so early September feels like September 2nd, since that would be a week break after Water Week, and then early September, September 2nd. You can exchange samples of Suicune main that you collect for Suicune Incense. Water type Pokemon are recommended. They list literally all the Pokemon I talked about. We're also preparing some rewards and functions that will allow everyone, even sleep beginners, to research Suicune's sleep styles more easily. Now, if you're a new listener to this podcast, or you just have still been on the fence about Pokemon Sleep, if you remember or don't remember, I'll remind you, Bobby started Pokemon Sleep during the Raikou event and was able to get 2 Raikous relatively easily.
Yeah. I think so. These events are made for that to be relatively easy if you're not aiming to get everything. And honestly, even if you are aiming to get everything, you kind of can get all of the rewards you want, regardless of how much you've played.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, other than the missions, the weekly missions are kind of the ones that you're going to be held back
A little
by
bit.
experience a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bobby even got the main skill seed.
Yeah.
So got enough for everything. If you do really like Suicune, if Suicune is the Pokemon that's going to convince you to download this game, or Whooper's popular, I get it. I made a whole sleep video about that. The best thing you could do is join the Discord or the Patreon or just any community group and add as many people as possible. That is literally the best thing you can do, is to get 50 friends. All you have to do is open the app and then click the little friends button, and then you get a bunch of free candy. It's not like Pokemon Go. You don't have to like send postcards. You don't have to dedicate 20 minutes of your life opening and sending gifts. It's just one button you press usually in the morning and one you press before bed, and then it's like, here's all your friends, and you could see what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to cash in on the free candy every single day.
I usually check the friends list 2 times, once in the morning, once in the evening, because some of y'all have wild sleep schedules, and also some of y'all are in very different time zones.
Yeah, the time zone thing.
The
really
time zone thing. But
Mhm.
a couple people on this podcast have very strange sleep schedules. And when I'm up checking in at 8, y'all are asleep, and I'm not seeing you registered, so I have to check again at night, and then you'll show up.
Yeah, I think I have like 6 or 7 that they check in at like 10 p.m. at night, but that's because they're like waking up in like Australia or something.
Yeah. Different
Yeah,
continents.
I want to say it's like I can reliably get 34 in the morning and 14 at night. I know the shift of people.
Yeah, a big buff to this game would be to increase the friend size limit. If they were to ever do that,
Yeah.
that would
But
be
getting
like
friends is such a big plus and so easy to add the benefit from that I feel like increasing the friends list maybe risks them lowering the benefits of having friends, potentially.
they did say in their 1-year anniversary post that they wanted to like adjust experience and adjust onboarding new players. I think there will be this, has to be like this Pokemon Go thing of reevaluating experience. I mean, the game's been out for a year, and it's so hard to get a single Pokemon to level 50 without
Yeah.
spending money. So there has to be a point where they have to change something. I mean, Pokemon Go did. They made it where you got way more experience with excellent throws, and they obviously, when they added the friends list, you got a bunch of experience just by having friends with people. Side note, a little bit of Masters news that I just thought of. They like redid the storyline stuff in Masters. So if you just randomly log in, you'll just get a bunch of gems because they decided that people starting the game weren't getting enough gems from doing the story. Yeah. I don't know if there's any more news to that, Greg, besides that.
So it depends. If you've been playing from the beginning and you've done the entire storyline, when I logged in and they adjusted it, I got 15,000 gems.
Which is a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot. I mean, it's 511 pulls right in front of the anniversary. So if go and check it, I think the biggest issue was that they were running into. There was no reason to do the story at this point in the game.
Unless you like stories.
And I mean, so the main story rewarded you, but it costs stamina. And the rewards for doing the banners and the stories that aren't the main story were so much better that this far into the game, there was zero reason to do that storyline. It ate up a lot of your experience, your stamina. It didn't give you enough gems. It didn't give you enough experience. It felt like, oh, okay, well, this is just a thing that I have to check, and it's going to eat up my stamina for the day. I will just skip it. So I get why they adjusted it, because it did need to be adjusted so people would do the main storyline and feel like they were being as rewarded as you were doing. Nimona showed up for 5 days. Let's go talk to her, and you get showered in gems and tickets and rewards, like a ton of things you got for the banner stories that you just never got for the main storyline. And I think they realized the only people that completed it is when that was the only thing we could do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I logged in and I only got like 9,000, but it's because I never finished the story. Yeah. So I didn't have all the gems to like recalculate.
Yeah. So now if you didn't finish it, you'll get the heightened reward. In essence, if you completed the storyline, you get 15,000. That's roughly what you'll get now, I think, if you complete the whole storyline, depending on where you left off. Yeah, they're doing a bunch of big changes like that. But yeah, that was a nice surprise to get right before the second year, which we still don't know what the banner is. We still don't know who we're getting for the second year anniversary. We're getting a lot of really weird stuff right now. None of it's second anniversary or third anniversary or fifth. I don't know what anniversary.
Definitely not second.
Nah, it's something that's higher.
I
don't know.
I think it's fifth.
Fifth.
Yeah. Because 2019 Worlds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, fifth.
Yes, it's a 5 year.
I don't think I'm alone in hearing multiple times over the last 2 weeks that there was going to be a Pokemon Direct on August 8th. I don't know why that day was picked. Besides, there was maybe a Pokemon Direct in 2023 on August 8th. I think that was or the thing that always happens where somebody like will retweet an old like Nintendo Direct or a Pokemon Presents, and then people don't look at the dates and they think that's like the announcement.
Yeah.
Anyways, that never happened. Whatever leakers or whatever rumor spreaders, that's my new insult. You rumor spreader, you. There was no Pokemon Presents this week. Maybe look, we can say this every single week until we're right. Maybe there'll be one this week after this podcast is up.
Yeah.
Unsure. There was 1 year where it was 2 days before Worlds. I actually think that was the London one. Otherwise, the other 2 years, it was like a week before Worlds. Everyone's been like, there's a Pokemon Presents every August. No, there's not. You can look this up. There in the history of Pokemon Presents of 27 some years, there's only been 3 in August. Only 3. There's been a couple in June. There's been one in April, one in May. A lot of, obviously, the Pokemon Day ones in February. As much as I would like a Pokemon Presents, I love them. I think they're fun. They're exciting to watch with people. It gets Pokemon fans excited again. Usually, most Pokemon fans are very positive coming out of a Pokemon Presents. I feel like they would have announced it or would have done it at this point. And I know people want ZA news. I do too. I find it hard to believe they're going to show ZA news at the end of Worlds that would possibly overshadow those winners when they could have done it before Worlds, which is, when you think about it, why they would do a Presents. They would do a Presents before Worlds to, 1, get people excited for Worlds, but 2, so you don't overshadow your giant tournament. Otherwise, they would just do everything at Worlds. But I do think there's like this balance of like, obviously announcing the new venue is something, and the things they do show at Worlds are normally pretty competitive or pretty irrelevant. Like they showed a Crabrawler one time, they showed Mega Slowbro one time. You could say like all the starters coming back was pretty big, and I do agree that is pretty big, but also that DLC was coming out in like 2 months. But I would also say that was pretty competitive because the number 1 competitive Pokemon is a starter. Like Incineroar is coming back is pretty relevant to the competitive scene.
Didn't they show Cyclizar?
Yes, they showed Cyclizar at the London Worlds.
Yeah. I don't think that's very competitive.
Its move was
that's true. That's true. It just didn't end up being.
Yeah. I think in singles it got some play, but what was the other? There was 2 Pokemon that got Shed Skin, and one was more useful than Cyclizar. I don't remember the other one. I say signature move, and I'm like, but another Pokemon has it. Yeah, I think 2 Pokemon. Shed Skin. I think they also showed a couple items. I think like Loaded Dice was shown at a Worlds, and I think Covered Cloak, and then I think like Ability Shield were all shown.
Yep.
At some point at Worlds. So that I expect there will be some announcement, right? Like I don't think anyone doesn't think that. I think there will probably be a small teaser preview in the opening ceremony, because that has consistently happened at Worlds. Even at one point, I think they said at 2 different Worlds, they were like, we have more news, but you got to wait till the end. And then the other thing is we definitely know they'll announce the venue at the end, but we know Pocket will be there. So there should be hopefully maybe a release date for Pocket, or at the very least they'll say like fall or winter of this year, or we're delaying it. I don't think they're going to delay it. They told us this year. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, I would like to see something ZA, but the lack of a Pokemon Presents makes it seem like are they...
The lack of a Pokemon Presents, and the fact that I don't think any of us expect ZA to be particularly competitive.
No.
Right, yeah.
No. No. Unless they're going in a wild direction with ZA that nobody expected.
They could be going in a wild direction, but I don't think that's the wild direction anyone's expecting based off of what they've said with the whole city building thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as much as I want ZA news, it's not the kind of news I expect to get at Worlds this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and
I do expect they will announce the September Unite release.
Oh, yes.
We all sort of know what it is already. So it's just confirming it.
Well, like last week we talked about a lot of things they did announce, which would have made sense in a Presents. then the only really things we don't know are Unite, Masters, Pocket, and ZA. Because Sleep did all their stuff. Even with the Suicune stuff, you could be like, why didn't they save that for Presents? They put Entei, Suicune, and Raikou in the Pokemon Day stuff. So it's like every time we get bigger, some people might be like, the Sleep news isn't that big. Adding a legendary Pokemon to Sleep is big for the people who play Sleep.
Yeah.
Every time there has been like bigger Pokemon news, like Mystery Dungeon. Yeah, well, I would say Mystery Dungeon on the eShop is not that big, but I know people are very excited for it. You just think of like, another day without a Pokemon Presents, but you're giving us big Pokemon news. Okay, sure. Fine, I guess. But again, I think this has been a lighter year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's okay. And I said time and time again, I think if they want to make the 30th super impactful and super big and this huge fanfare because there's a 0 at the end of 3, that there had to be a year that is light so they can catch up and so they can do things properly. And I think this just happens to be this year. And that's okay.
And we want them to do things properly. Yeah. We want to end up with a game that's not like the bugs in Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, and the 25th was fun. And the 20th was super great. Like the 20th was Sun and Moon and Pokemon Go and every mythical, and GameStop had a new plush every week and a bunch of collaborations. Like, that was a good year for Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, the 30th, leading up to the 30th is also going to be, there's going to be a lot of things they're talking about. Like, the 30th anniversary is going to be a big, big year. I mean, that's a huge milestone.
Yeah. And I mean, they've always gone all out for their milestones. I remember the 10th anniversary had a cross-country tour thing that I went to. So for all of these milestones, they've tried to do something. Although I guess I don't particularly remember the 15th. But I was like 16 at that time.
As important as zeros.
Bring back the black and white mall tour.
I mean, I've been to, I think I went to all of the mall tours, even the ones that didn't come here, because I went to the one in Chicago. I went to the both that were here. I've done all the mall tours.
There's a Nintendo mall tour coming to Mall of America and other malls, but just like Nintendo stuff. Just probably Mario Party, Jamboree, or
Mario Kart.
Yeah, always Mario Kart. It's just Mario Kart.
It's just Mario Kart.
That's all they need. All right, let's take a break, and then when we come back, we have some Game Freak specific news and some updates on Scarlet and Violet if you've missed what they are doing for the next 2 weeks, and then some Pokemon Go stuff and some anime stuff. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. Don't cancel your Netflix just yet.
I never canceled it. There are things I watch on Netflix.
Pokemon Horizons, the series part 3, now available. This was on August 9th. Liko, Roy, and Rising Volt Tacklers continue their pursuit of the Black Rayquaza. I heard they're announcing at Worlds that the shiny Rayquaza coming to 7-star raids. That's
Don't. You'll confuse people.
Don't be mean.
I think it's going to happen before the end of this game series. We are going to get. I'm confident of it.
I've lost hope.
I have never lost hope on this. Part 3 is now available on Netflix. I don't know. It doesn't say on Pokemon.com, which is where I'm pulling this from, how many episodes this is.
Aren't they generally 12?
I think it was around 12.
Yeah, so there should be 30 some episodes. And I also don't know what.
There are 10 new episodes.
Oh, jeez. I also don't know like how.
Or 11. 11.
I know we are very far behind from
We've
Japan.
been very far behind.
Yes, we've been very far behind. There are Pokemon that have evolved that the Japanese Twitter is just like, look at what happened this week. Cool, thanks.
Cool. Maybe you could get it here faster.
Yeah. If you were planning on doing the train thing in Japan, which was go to 36 stations and get the stamps, and then when you get all the stamps, you get like the Rayquaza medal. The stamp rally in Japan. All of the Shinkansen stops are just spoilers. They're all the like they're all like, oh, well, that's the one Pokemon in the anime that you're looking for. Got it. Okay, great. Perfect. But also they're much more ahead. So maybe it's not spoilers, but as somebody who's considering to do that stamp rally, I was like, oh, okay.
All spoilers.
All spoilers. Got it. It's great to be a English-speaking Pokemon anime fan.
Very specifically, because not all anime have this problem.
Right.
No, they do not.
I think there is up to 40 English episodes now.
It looks like part 1 has 12 episodes, part 2 has 11 episodes, and part 3 has 11 episodes. So that's 34 episodes so far.
34. Well, that's out now. So I guess you can binge watch it, then cancel your Netflix. I don't know when the 4th series comes out. Probably before the end of the year.
There are other good things on Netflix. Like you can.
Are there?
There are some.
Yeah.
I was told not to cancel for Umbrella Academy, but then everyone online said it was bad, and then I was like, oh, I don't know.
Just the last season.
But isn't the last season, that's like what happened with Game of Thrones? Like the last season, I feel like really makes or breaks a show.
Yeah, granted, I haven't watched it yet, but I have heard bad things about the last season.
I mean, if you've read the comic book, you know what's happening and where they've changed. So,
is it not the same as the comic? Did they?
It's not.
No.
Oh, is that why people didn't like it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think there's more reasons that people don't like it.
There's more than that, but also, so the difficulty is the comic is
still going, right?
Still going. Also, be really, really, really weird. Like it's really weird, and the TV show is just weird. It's weird, and also does things to keep like the general public not thinking, why do you have John F. Kennedy wandering through this background for no good reason, which the comic just throws people in.
If you want a show that's really, really, really weird like that, though, Legends of Tomorrow, highly recommend.
Because they don't care.
No,
they're like,
after the first
who
season.
Watches this?
The first season was bad. Every other season was great. Similar to Umbrella Academy, but more weird.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow is literally, well, it was DC's comic where they're like, we don't care what's happening, and then became their TV show where we don't care what's happening. Just put money in it. We just need to keep it going for whatever reason.
Okay, this is going to be weird because I'm translating a Japanese webpage of Game Freak related news. I can barely speak English as it is. And now I'm translating Japanese to English. So there might be some things wrong, but the gist of the article is still the same. Game Freak, developer of Pokemon, will hold a free mid-career recruitment online briefing session on August 30th. And they are looking to hire specific people. It looks like that you have to apply because they're only accepting 100 people. And then from those 100 people, they're looking for 7 major types of positions. They're looking for a planner, which is for scenario and worldview settings. And it is and they're looking also for contract, a sound planner for the Pocket Monsters series. They are looking for designers for character models, effects, backgrounds, cutscenes. They're looking for a section director for writing, people, motion, Pokemon models, 2D art design. They're looking for a 2D art designer for background and 2D art. And they're also trying to get a contract position for a 2D artwork designer They're looking for a project manager. They're looking for programmers. There's a lot of contract programmers here for character area for new IP. We know they're working on non-Pokemon games as well. They're looking for a UI programmer, new IP, communication game programmer for Pocket. They literally say here they're looking for, if it's for Pokemon, it will say we're looking for this for Pokemon. So this communication game programmer for Pokemon, Unity engineer for research and development, animation programmer for research and development, infrastructure engineer for server. Please, anything. Pokemon Home is
They're not the ones who
I know, but like
make Pokemon
the
Home.
communication to home and engineering, infrastructuring, anything, please. Information system, Windows infrastructure engineer. And then they're looking for R&D programmers for communication, animation, machine learning, graphics system, battle system library, technical artists, and then they are also looking for some IT help desk support. None of this is like breaking news. A company that makes a bunch of money and a lot of video games are looking to hire more people to continue making money and more video games.
Yeah. Although seeing it as an online mid-career event, that's the kind of thing. I just got hired. That's the kind of thing I wish I had been seeing while I was looking for a job. Because they are looking specifically, it says later on, for people who have had at least 3 years of experience, which is still not great for a lot of people, but also that's not as high as many other places are asking for. But I think only 3 of these listed positions are Pokemon specific, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 are specifically laid out for Pokemon itself.
Yeah, the sound planner, the 2D artwork designer, and the communication game programmer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, Game Freak in itself is relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
And they did do a bunch of hiring after Sun and Moon. And then they did a bunch more hiring after Sword and Shield. And I'm sure they hire here and there as it goes. But
I mean, also they have, a major event happening in 2026 that they may want to gear things up for and get people in working positions so that if they have a lot of announcements and new products and new artwork and new everything for a major event, they would have that ready to go.
Yeah. I don't know what Game Freak's employee count is of now. 207 as of 2024, which is relatively small.
That's a tiny office.
That is not a big company.
Yeah, and to put that in perspective, Bungie, they make Destiny. They used to make Halo before then 343 took over. 850 people. And Destiny barely works. That game that game has constant issues, and it has 4 times the amount of people. I don't know. I feel like we talk about this every time a Pokemon game comes up, where people are like, they should just hire more people. That just doesn't like fix the issue.
Yeah, more complicated than that.
And then Rockstar, they make this small, very tiny game called Grand Theft Auto. As of 2018, they have 2,000 employees. just very small studio over there.
Yes.
Factor of 10 larger. That's wild. For every 1 person at Game Freak, there's 10 people at Rockstar.
Yeah. I mean, GTA 5 continues to make millions of dollars every day with their online whatever. Good for them.
And yet Pokemon is still the biggest franchise.
Yes, because Rockstar isn't selling plushes.
Yeah,
That's where they're
Rockstar
missing out on.
Plush.
60% of all revenue is plushies.
Plush, more plush, and Le Creuset wear. GTA, Le Creuset, Crockpot is where they need to move. What do they do for Grand Theft Auto merch? I mean, it's t-shirts, right?
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, I don't think merch matters as much as like the microtransactions in Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah.
All right. I'm new gear. They have socks, a bunch of hats.
I'm adding it to my cart right now.
One of them string backpacky things that I hate so much. Oh, and an ashtray.
You know, out of all the merch you listed, I think the ashtray makes the most sense for Grand Theft Auto connoisseurs.
Mm-hmm.
I am taken aback that in the year 2024, they just released an ashtray.
I think it's great. It's very on brand.
It is so on brand, but also
you have single-handedly informed our audience that they could be. Don't go buying ashtrays. Don't smoke.
Just
you could put other things in it. You could put your keys in it.
You could. There's a lot of t-shirts on this store. A lot of t-shirts and a lot of baseball caps and an ashtray. No plushies. Not a plushie to be sent. Oh, stickers. No, those are patches. Never mind. Not stickers. Patches.
I mean, we've talked about when the like Pokemon is the most successful media franchise in the world. No one's debating that. A lot, and I'm not exaggerating that the majority of their money comes from plushes,
or at least merch.
That merchandise, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Game wise, when we talked about like Pokemon Sleep, it made $100 million last year, and that doesn't even come close to some of these other games. Like, for example, I have this pulled up off Sensory Reports. Honkai Star Rail made $52 million in April, and then $66 million in April, $52 million in May. In 2 months, Honkai Star Rail made as much money as Pokemon Sleep did in a year. Yeah. And Honkai Star Rail, not a new game. It's been out for quite a while. So, like, I totally get the jokes of, like, small indie studio and maybe hire more. They are small. They have 200 people. They are a small studio. But, like, if you look at how much gacha games make, I think Pokemon would like a piece of that. But as much as me and Greg and other people like Pokemon Masters, it ain't coming close.
It is not.
Nope.
Nowhere
they
near.
have a gacha game. It's just not that kind of gacha game.
So I always hate the well, you just slap Pokemon on it, it makes a ton of money.
I mean, it makes some money.
It definitely makes money, but not as much as like look at some of these gacha games. Look at Grand Theft Auto. Look at even I think Destiny does make a lot of money, even though people don't like that. But Pokemon Masters, here we go. So I said Honkai made $66 million in April, made $52 million in May. Oh my gosh, hold on. Masters is so down on the list. I lost it again.
Keep scrolling. So much. Keep scrolling.
In April, Masters made $1.7 million. Not 66 million. And then in May, it made 1.6 million.
I mean, that's still $1 million.
It's still
I mean, it's still good.
But when your whole game is selling people digital characters and another game is doing that 50 times over.
Yeah.
And you're the biggest IP in the world. And the other one just came out a year ago. Something is... Those numbers are not close at all. But yeah. Also, China's a big market. Because if you look at this list, China is up there as like the majority spending money in those said games.
Mm.
Also, Dragon Ball making 10 million in April and 7 million in May. I don't know who's playing Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, but they're doing 10 times better than Masters EX. Summoner Wars? How are they making 11 million and then 10 million? The last time I heard Summoner Wars was like 6 years ago at Gen Con. Who is giving this game money? Puzzle of Dragons is making 17 million?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of it's just crazy to think about how Pokemon is this huge Goliath of an IP, and its gacha game doesn't even come close to these other gacha games. It's crazy. It's insane. It's kind of insane.
It's one of the things where it's like, I don't know how Pokemon Company gets the gap of getting people out of one silo and into the mobile silo, because there's no reason.
Yeah.
Like, Master's play style is pretty good. It's not, difficult. As I've learned recently, as they're doing their damage event so they can see how people are doing. I am so casual in that game. There are people posting online like, I did 1 million damage in the 2 minutes I have, and I'm like, I got 50,000. So I am so casual, and I still get a lot out of that game. There is such a weird sense of, I also think there's so many mobile things of Pokemon to pay attention to that adding another one, no matter how good it is, like, people say to me, it just feels like it's going to be like, I'm going to spend 30 minutes in Masters. I'm like, I spend 10 minutes every day. I spend less time in Sleep, and I don't do Go every day. But because there's so many of them, people feel like I'm spending an hour in mobile Pokemon games. And it's good that there's so many, but like, I do feel like everyone has one, and they have their people that pay them a ton of money.
I do feel like everyone who plays Genshin also plays Honkai, also plays ZZZ. I do feel like there's overlap in...
Yeah. Do the characters overlap between those games?
I think they reference each other.
Okay.
Because they're all Hoyoverse.
Masters is, I feel like, more of a game for more intense Pokemon players. That you play Masters and like playing Masters more if you know the characters. And you only know more of the characters if you've played more of the games. And that on top of the fact that even if your favorite Pokemon is in Masters, it might be paired with a character you do not care about at all or actively dislike.
Mm.
And so they have kind of sacrificed their main pull with Pokemon, which is you being connected to your favorite Pokemon, by putting this middle thing, which is characters who you may or may not care about in Masters.
I mean, no one cares about the butler with the Staraptor.
He's great. He's a great unit.
I don't even remember his name. I think the other thing, and I hate saying this, but I think the other thing is other gacha games do a lot of pandering. Like, Masters does not have Giovanni in a swimsuit.
Yeah.
Giovanni in a swimsuit does exist in the anime and should be brought to Masters as a summer costume. I don't know why. We need Giovanni with his Sharpedo. That is anime lore that needs to be brought to Masters, and I believe it would sell. That would be like a $5 million a month right there.
Yeah, they are very
but
modest
in serious,
in their outfits, and their swim outfits are very modest.
Yeah.
Modest is a very good word compared to
Compared
other
to-
gotcha games.
Yeah, compared to what else exists out there, they are very modest.
And I don't think they can be less so, really.
I don't think they can be, but
Scarlet and Violet news. The summer of Scarlet and Violet is still happening. We're on week 3 now, which is Chest Form Gimmighoul are in Terra raid battles. It is exactly the same as last time, which means that Gimmighoul is in 1 to 5 star raids. Only the 5-star raids can be shiny. It is still a 1 in 4,000 chance of Gimmighoul to be shiny. They did add one change, which is Gimmighoul now drops Herba Mystica. It looks like it's a 3% chance, and it's only bitter Herba Mystica. It's not random like the 7-star raids. So there is a reason to do that. That goes until Thursday, August 22nd. And then after that will be the 7-star normal Terra Dragonite, which sometime this week there should be my raid build video for Dragonite. Really, really hard to build for Dragonite early, since Dragonite can literally learn way too many moves, and it has amazing coverage. There's also the Outbreak event, which is Comfey in Blueberry, Riolu in Kitakami, and then Watrel in Paldea. This is the first event ever that has both increased shiny odds, which I posted those on Instagram and Twitter and Threads. I don't know them off the top of my head, but also increased mark chance. So it's a 5% chance for the pumped up mark, which means that if you catch a shiny, there's a 1 in 20 chance that your shiny would have the pumped up mark. Technically higher than that because it could also have other marks, but the pumped up mark rolls separately than the other. So if you like to mark hunt shinies, or you like the pumped up mark, or you think pumped up mark on Riolu is cool, then you should go do that before that ends. But then the next week, or the Dragon Week, that will also be increased shiny plus increased mark as well. So then we don't know what's happening after the summer is over, but that's happening right now. So that's cool. There's probably something else I was trying to remember that went with that. I can't think of it. Get your Fuecoco. They're Fuecoco, Sprigatito, Quaxley from the anime. You can download all of those.
For a while. Doesn't that last for a long time?
Yeah, till next year.
The Sprigatito ends in September. At the very end of September. But the other two are, next year. Yeah. Because we got Lico's Sprigatito so early.
It was a while ago.
Oh, yeah. 4 Worlds. Anyone will be able to get the Sylveon that was the champion Sylveon for the seniors division. I don't know why the Masters didn't get picked this year. Maybe because they used Gastrodon. I don't actually remember their team. I don't think it was a Gastrodon, but so anyone can get a Sylveon. That's there. If you're at Worlds, don't know how they're doing it this year. I can say at London. You had to, at London, at Washington, D.C., and at Nashville, and at San Diego. I'm just trying to remember all the worlds I went to. You would either have to bring your Switch and your 3DS into the convention hall, connect to a very bad Wi-Fi network that everyone else was trying to connect to, eventually download your Pokemon, and then you would be good. And that was for like Victini, or not Victini. London was Sinistea. For Yokohama last year, they were giving out little cards for Tasaguri because that was the Pokemon. So if Steenie is the same way, for in-person events, it's a water Terra type Steenie with safety goggles as a held item, which is like really cute because that's what the artwork is Steenie with like scuba gear on.
Yeah, it's cute.
So hopefully they're handing out cards because they were really generous in Yokohama. Like you would just be walking past a McDonald's and somebody would be standing on the corner handing out cards for Tasaguri. You'd be at like an ice cream shop in the mall and you'd walk out of the mall and somebody's like, here's like 4 Tasaguri. Like we're just trying to get rid of these. They printed so many Tasaguri and these people were everywhere just handing them out. So it was really nice because I was able to get a bunch and then like put them in the Discord and the Slack for people to like redeem first come, first serve. So if that's the case, you might be able to get a Tasaguri or you might be able to get a Steenie if you're not going, if you know somebody who is going, and that's cool. But they always do like a Pokemon that's like, you don't feel like terribly bad missing. I think one year for Hawaii, they gave out like a Alolan Exeggutor. But that's happening. And then Twitch for the week of Hawaii will have drops for both Pokemon Go and the Pokemon trading card game. So you'll be able to watch any of, well, I think you have to watch the Pokemon Go channel for the Pokemon Go drops. And then I think you have to watch the TCG channel for the TCG drops. I think if you're watching the VGC channel, it's just going to show you the Sylveon code in rotation. So you don't need to actually watch. You can just get the code. My channel will have drops for the weekend of Worlds because I'll be bringing the stream backpack. So I'll be streaming, like, seeing the Pokemon Center early and seeing Hawaii and seeing what the event looks like. So if you just leave my stream open, you'll get the same drops. And then I'll planning on streaming the closing ceremony, so the last couple matches. So if you want to watch the last couple matches and you have questions about what's happening, I can answer those to you instead of you going in the main chat and being like, what's happening? And somebody being like, blah, blah. How do you not know that fake out can't work?
I don't think anyone would even, no one would even respond to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's just like half the comments being like, when's Wolfie competing?
Mm-hmm.
Brother, he already got eliminated like 2 days ago. Like he's not competing. So yeah, Worlds should be exciting. There's a bunch of stuff happening. The Outbreak stuff is cool. Yeah, I think that's everything for Worlds. All right, let's take one more break, and then we have Pokemon Go news, and then I also want to share my thoughts about legendary Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. So more Scarlet and Violet, crazy. We will be right back. And we are back from our break. All right, before we get to the Pokemon Go news, I did a week-long stream on Twitch, and in that week-long stream, I had one simple goal was to get a shiny Jumbo Cramorant, which I did get her. She's a queen. She's very large.
We did it.
Now I did not get a Destiny Mark Cramorant, unfortunately, because
what's Destiny Mark?
Destiny Mark is when your birthday. So when you go to the Pokemon Center and it says like happy birthday, that once it triggers that happy birthday, all the Pokemon for your birthday will have I think it's like a 1 in 8 chance of having a Destiny Mark, which is cool. So my goal for my next birthday is to get a tiny Destiny Mark Cram.
Amazing.
So I can have the smallest Cram and then the biggest Cram.
Shiny
so
still?
That'll be next year. Shiny still, yeah. I also want to just, I don't like changing my date because it's the same weird mental gymnastics I have of like I don't want to like hack in an old C map to then hunt Mew to be like, I hunted Mew legitimately because people will be like, well, how did you do it? And then I'd have to bring up like, oh, I did this one bad part before. Some people don't care, right? For me, like, I think the story of the Pokemon is more exciting. So like you could switch it to your birthday at any time, right? Like you could just go into your Switch and be like, it's my birthday, and you can get as many Destiny Mark Pokemon as you want. But I do really want to like remember my birthday Pokemon as Pokemon on my birthday. So it's like, I have like 40 Destiny Mark Pokemon. Some of them were in September. That's not my birthday.
I mean,
so if if you want to do that, that's cool. I'm just saying why I don't want to do it. So I look forward to my birthday because then I can kind of pick and choose like what I want to get or not get. I ended up getting a non-shiny Destiny Mark Starly because I was testing to make sure it was working. So shout out to that little bird. He now lives in my Pokemon home living decks as Destiny Mark Starly. Anyways, so after I got shiny Jumbo Cramorant, I decided, because I was streaming so much, that like when people were starting to go to bed and it was like 2 a.m., I was like, oh, I'm just going to organize my Pokemon home because I'm tired. Everyone else is tired. This is really chill. No one's missing like high energy content because it's the middle of the night. And then I got into completely organizing my Pokemon home.
Ugh,
because
no,
I never
cannot.
because before Scarlet and Violet came out, I had it all organized. Everything was in order. Up to Scarlet and Violet, I got the Pokeball Magearna and everything originally back in Sword and Shield. Because I think you only need up to before like Regieleki, Regidrago. I don't even think you need those technically because they were never added with the DLC. So whatever Sword and Shield was base, no DLC, I think was still to this day is how it works. Don't know. You can only get one Magearna. And then I never organized Gen 9, even though I completed the Gen 9 Pokedex. So obviously I have all the Gen 9 Pokemon. So I started organizing everything. And then I realized, oh, once this is done, I'm going to have to organize a Shiny Living Dex, which I want to do. But then I realized that half of my Living Dex had Shinies in it. Like, oh, I have a shiny Togedemaru here. I have a shiny Unknown here. I have like a shiny Zamazenta here. So I need to like move those out. And so now I have a bunch of holes in my living decks that were not just, I don't have the non-shiny version of that Pokemon. And one of the Pokemon I was missing was Cupfu, because I played through Scarlet and Violet twice, but I evolved one into the water Urshifu and one into the fighting Urshifu. So I was like, oh, I need another Cubfu. And I was like, oh, I can just get Cubfu in Scarlet and Violet. That's great. So after I caught Cubfu, I was like, oh, Cobalion is like literally right above Cubfu. They're like in the same area of the forest. I was like, I'm already here. I'll just catch Cobalion. This started me catching every legendary Pokemon in the game.
That didn't have to happen. That's on you.
It didn't, but I'm just making up statistics like I always do. I would guess that 90% of the people listening to this podcast told themselves that they were going to shiny hunt all the legendaries in Pokemon Sun and Moon. And the reason they didn't catch any Pokemon in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is because they were going to shiny hunt them. And I would bet that almost everyone listening to this podcast never actually caught those legendary Pokemon. And then Sword and Shield came out, and those same people were like, well, I'm going to shiny hunt those legendary Pokemon in Sword and Shield. And they went through Dynamax Adventure, and it wasn't shiny, and then they never caught them. And I think it's the same here, where people are like, I'm eventually going to do this, and then they never do it. Because I'll tell you right now, I think out of all the legendary Pokemon in Sword and Shield, I think I caught like 4, because the other ones weren't shiny, so I ran away. Sun and Moon, same thing. I didn't catch that Mewtwo. I didn't catch that Zapdos. I didn't catch any of them because I told myself I was going to, and then I never did. And now we're 3 games later. And I think a lot of the audience listening to the show did the same thing as me of like, oh, I'm going to catch them. And then the next game comes out and then you never do. So I was like, you know what? They can't be shiny anyways. And I can catch them in the cool Pokeballs. So I'm going to do that. But I will say, this is what I did. I didn't look up on Sarumi or Bulbapedia or anything. I didn't look at any maps. I talked to Snacksworth. I listened to his clues, and I went to find them. And I think one of them I had to like look up after spending like 30 minutes looking, because his clue was he lied to me. His clue was like, oh, he's in this thing, and he wasn't. It was like over. And then at one point, somebody like spoiled where Lugia was, because they came into stream and they were like, oh, Lugia's right here. And I was like, oh, you're new here, but like I was trying to do it without looking it up. And they're like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to. But I genuinely had some of the most fun I think I've had in Scarlet and Violet by doing that, by going off Snackworth's hints and then re-exploring Paldea. And I'm sure it was like a long-term thing to be like, well, we're going to put these legendary Pokemon here initially. Like, I don't think they thought of it last minute of like, what are we going to do with legendary Pokemon? Let's just like stick them right here. But I do think where they put the legendary Pokemon and the clues, I had so much fun actually finding them. And then when I got to them, catching them was like a nightmare because it's all like catch rate 3 and whatever. But I really did like exploring Paldea, and there were still, you know, I have 1,000+ hours in Scarlet and Violet. There were still some places where I was like, I've never been here. You have no reason to be here.
It's a
but
big
like
map.
I didn't. It's I was like, I didn't know that there was like a tunnel here, or I didn't know there was like a cave over here, and it gave a little bit more lore to Paldea that I wasn't expecting. There's like a legend. There's like a one of it. Sorry, this is maybe slightly spoilers to some people who may want to do what I just did. There's like one of Snacksworth's like stories is like this Pokemon is looking over this city carved into the mountain, and everyone in this city is like really hardworking. And it like I sat there and I was like, well, there's only so many cities in Paldea, and there's only so many cities like carved into mountains. And like, what would be hardworking? Like, I don't think like Iono's city of Lavencia, like those people never struck me as hardworking. So it's like, it's kind of like that missing thing that Paldea, I think Paldea is missing compared to other Pokemon games, where like when you get to like a city in Black and White, or even like I think the city that stands out in people's mind is the city after Glimwood Tangle in Sword and Shield with all the mushrooms and stuff.
The glowy
like,
mushrooms.
You don't even need lore for that city. You get in and you like feel it. You're like, oh my gosh, this city is so cool. It's so beautiful. Like, I want to live here kind of city. And I don't think the legends in Scarlet and Violet like fixes that issue, but like that just like simple line of dialogue of like the people in the city is really hardworking and they carved their city out of the mountain makes it feel like that sounds like a city I want to go to. And like that's more that like one sentence of lore would have done you so much good. Maybe if it was given to you at the beginning of the game. I don't know.
I'm curious if any of the NPCs say it, because I've talked to most of the NPCs and I don't think I remember that, but it's also been a while at this point.
Yeah, I don't.
But yeah,
recall.
The map is big. Paldea is a large region and there are a lot of places to explore. I remember I had a ton of fun flying around or running around and getting all the flying points. And at this point, with the actual flying feature, I would imagine finding things is even more fun.
Yeah, it was eye-opening to go back to, because I had to go back to Scarlet for version exclusives, obviously. And I was like, oh, I don't have flying unlocked. I don't have this unlocked. I don't have my like blueberry camera unlocked. And traversing the world when you can no longer fly, like when that's taken away from you, when you're so used to it, you just like
I can't talk about this pain. I can't.
I was like, I just want to fly.
I can't talk
But I
about
can't.
this pain. It's every
This is a very Greg's probably relating to Final Fantasy, where they take away your flying when you enter a new area.
Expansion. I am forced to walk like a common peasant from point to point. I have a gorilla that flies. I have a gorilla that flies. And they won't let me fly until I find some mystical wind swirl on the edge of some city. Or I talk to Sarah and she's like, hey, thanks for bringing me soup. Now you can fly. Just maddening.
Yeah, I like how they did the legends. I think it's really cool. I think it's way cooler than like, you know, in X and Y, you just find Mewtwo or you just find Zygarde at the end of the cave and that's it. I think like where they place them on the map and giving them like this little story, and then going there and being like, cool, like I've never been here before, I've never been to this part of the map. I think that's great. The shiny lock obviously made a lot of people upset even before this game. I mean, I joked that like no one caught those Pokemon in Sun and Moon or Sword and Shield. Like, part of the reason I didn't need to catch those Pokemon is because I have all the shinies from some game or another. So like, me personally wasn't affected by the shiny lock. I mean, the only one I would have probably hunted would be like Kubfu and the horses. So 3 Pokemon out of all of them. But I do think it was cool. The other thing I realized, because I had to go back to Scarlet and I had to play through some of that, is I kind of forgot all about the Blood Moon Ursaluna fight.
Mm-hmm.
And doing the Blood Moon Ursaluna fight and then going and finding the legends was so jarring to me, because the Blood Moon Ursaluna fight is set up like a Titan battle.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like 5, 10, I don't know how many times the HP, but you can't simply just like one shot it. Like, Ursaluna can still like set up and Calm Mind and kind of knock out 1 or 2 Pokemon. And that fight was more like epic and exciting than any of the fights with the legends, which Blood Moon Ursaluna, very cool. Very cool Pokemon,
very
but
cool.
also not a legendary Pokemon.
Yep.
So, like, it also reminds me of like the fights in Let's Go, where like when you're fighting Mewtwo or Zapdos or Moltres, you have to like knock them out before you can actually catch them. And I think that was like really smart and really clever, instead of just like going in and putting Mewtwo to sleep and then chucking a million Pokeballs. But I think it ends up being like the same result. Like with Blood Moon, I fought Blood Moon and it knocked out like 2 Pokemon. I didn't have like a team or anything for it, but I could easily see somebody who has like a bunch of level 80s or a bunch of level 70s that like, oh, this fight is like slightly tough. It's at least like memorable in a way of, oh, cool, I have to like fight this giant beast in the forest. Like, there was a little mission up to it. I have to take some photos. I have to follow Perrin. I have to knock out this Pokemon. Like, it felt rewarding of your time. And then the cool thing is when you knock out Blood Moon, you can just catch it in whatever you want. Heavy Ball, Moon Ball, Dream Ball, Ultra Ball, Beast Ball. And it feels like you accomplished something. And the thing that's always bothered me, and why I really do like Let's Go, is with all the legends, I did the same thing. I got up to them. I false swiped them until they go around 1 HP. I put them to sleep with Spore. You could use Hypnosis. You could use Sing. It's the same thing. I don't know why you just wouldn't use Spore. You could Thunder Wave it, which there's some convenience there because it can't shake off Thunder Wave, but Sleep is like significantly better than Paralysis. There's no move that freezes that doesn't do damage, so you can't like freeze it because there's just all freezing moves do damage, so that doesn't work. You can't burn it because that doesn't work with False Swipe. Yep. You can't poison it. That doesn't work with False Swipe. So really, like, my complaint is I had to do like 20 some legends and I had to do them all the same way, which is False Swipe, Spore, and chuck Pokeballs. Lunala took me 2.5 hours. Moltres took like 3 minutes. I caught it on like the second one. But like, none of those were fun as like the Blood Moon fight. The Blood Moon fight was so good. So I think like in my head, what would have been better is like if these legends were out in the world, sure, they're going to be shiny locked because that's just how they did it. But it would have been so cool if every legend fight was like Blood Moon.
Or like a Titan fight.
Yeah. Because like Cobalion, Virizion, and Terrakion could set up with Swords Dance and could be very threatening. And if they had more HP than just the standard HP, they could easily knock out like 3 or 4 Pokemon. And it would be cool to be like, I knocked out Terrakion and now I get to catch it in whatever Pokeball. Like, that seems like a much more fun fight than what I had to do. And I had to do it 20 times. like there wasn't a faster way. Now the sandwich does work. After the 3.0 updates, sandwiches do work on the legends. So if you used Herba Mystica, you could make a flying type sandwich for Ho-Oh or a flying type sandwich for Lugia, and it would increase the catch rate. And that's nice of them to do, to like, okay, there's other ways to increase the catch rate. You can also increase the catch rate by backstabbing a Pokemon with, like in Legends Arceus, but you can't backstab the Legends. My main complaint is there's 800 plus moves in this series, and only 2 matter for catching: False Swipe and Spore. Like, it would be so cool if something like, I used Misty Terrain, now Dragon type Pokemon are easier to catch. Or I used Rain Dance, now Fire type Pokemon are easier to catch. Or I used Sweet Scent, and now it slightly increases the catch rate of Grass type Pokemon. Like, very simple things, but it would at least make you go like, oh, I'm shiny hunting Fomantis, or I'm shiny hunting Dragapult. I'm going to bring a slightly different team to cater to catching this. And people will be like, well, just use a timer ball, just use a quick ball, you just use a Pokeball. No, I am saying there are 800 moves and only 2 of them do something. That's what I'm saying. Like, there should be other options to fit your playstyle that isn't like, we're just going to use Breloom.
I mean,
and Breloom is a cool Pokemon, don't get me wrong.
That's one way to go about it. I think I've said before that I would be satisfied if we just sort of took out the normal standard Pokemon battling from wild Pokemon for most, if not all of them, and then just left it either to a combination of either just chucking a Pokeball like it was in Legends, and seeing if you catch it there, or battling it the way you do with all of the bigger battles in Scarlet and Violet, and being able to get it down to 0 HP and then choose what Pokeball to go to from there. Honestly, I feel like those options, are the fantastic. 2 enjoyable ones.
We're coming up on the 30th anniversary of this series. I cannot tell you how over I am on catch rates. And I will tell you this, one of the things that stops me from hunting the Legends in Scarlet and Violet is knowing the catch rate problem, is knowing how much dumb preparation I have to do to sit there for an unknown amount of time, when I know if I don't get it, I will soft reset it and catch it in the ball that I want. And the only thing you're doing is wasting my time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the
only
RNG.
thing that's happening there is you are forcing me to spend an evening doing the same action over and over and over and over and over again for no good reason anymore.
Just take that out, let you play the game more.
I posted a TikTok about this, and some of the comments were like, skill issue, or that's just how the game is supposed to be, or it's a JRPG. What do you expect?
It's not anymore.
It's not. It's not a skill issue
to
put something to sleep and to false swipe it. It's not a skill issue to chuck Pokeballs. A skill issue would be like, I couldn't beat Blood Moon Ursaluna because I brought the wrong Pokemon and it hit too hard. There are Pokemon you can bring that are very good against Blood Moon Ursaluna and can wall Blood Moon Ursaluna very easily. Same thing with like Necrozma in older games. Same thing with gym leaders. Like, I'm struggling against Iono. Well, yeah, you brought all water Pokemon. What do you expect? Like, that is a. But I would rather prep. I would rather lose to Blood Moon or like lose to something and be like, oh, I just have to switch my team up. Okay, now I can do it next time. Instead of, I'm going to false swipe this Cubfu. I'm going to put it to sleep. I'm going to throw a bunch of Pokeballs. Oh, it struggled to death. Restart, do it again. Like, there's no skill there.
Yeah, the difference between failing a raid is you can learn what to do better next time. Then random generator number didn't hit this time because I did everything right. It's at 1 HP and it is asleep.
Yeah.
It has the highest chance. And now I am just waiting for an internal algorithm to click to the correct number for it to capture. there's nothing I can do different. There's nothing I can improve on. There's nothing. I just have to suffer.
Yeah.
For
That's
hours.
why I think that if more moves did something, you could improve on it, right? Like, okay, I'm going to hunt Zekrom, so I'm going to bring my False Swiper, I'm going to bring my Sleeper, I'm going to bring my Misty Terrain Setter. Like, the fact that 2 out of 800 moves actually matter doesn't. Every catch is the same approach.
And I think you could improve on it, but when we already have 2 other better catching mechanics, I feel like we can just go with those, honestly. We have other reasons to use all the other moves in the games if you play competitive or if you want to use them in battles. I think that those can stick to more battle-specific things. They can be used to get the HP down if it's more of a raid-style match, if you really want to use them. But otherwise, I am done with the RNG and catching.
Yep.
I think that's why I also liked Let's Go, because Let's Go eliminated the false swipe spore, right? Instead of doing false swipe and spore, you just used a golden raspberry. It was ultimately the same thing. You're hitting one button instead of like 3 false swipes, 1 spore. And then the other thing that I really appreciated about Let's Go is you could actually get better at it. You could improve your nices to greats. You can improve your greats to excellent. Like there's still the RNG, right? There's still like this Zubat has a 11% chance of breaking out every time you throw. And it's like, okay, well, I've caught enough Zubats where now I'm consistently hitting excellent.
Yeah.
Or what Let's Go also did is the more of a Pokemon you caught, the easier it was to catch. So it rewarded you both ways. It rewarded your time for sitting there for an hour catching Lickitungs waiting for a shiny to show up. But when the shiny did show up, number one, you've caught, ideally, if you didn't stand there and do nothing. But if you kept catching Lickitungs, eventually when the shiny showed up, it would be easier to catch because you caught more than enough. And you caught so many of them that you should, ideally, be hitting excellent because you've just gotten used to when to throw it. So the game does 2 things really well. It gets rid of the like false swipe spore, just replaces it with a golden raspberry, and then it actually gives you something to improve on as you're doing it. There's nothing to improve on in Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield. It is, I put it to sleep, I false swipe. There's literally nothing I can do besides just wait at this point. And there is no skill issue. It's just, I'm going to catch it when the game decides it's okay to catch it.
Yep.
Do you prefer the Let's Go catching? Do you prefer the Let's Go catching to the Overworld Legends catching? Because I feel like those are similar, but not the same.
I like Legends catching more because think it's more dynamic. But I can see why people don't like it because it is very action based. And if you are, I think a lot of people come to Pokemon because it is turn based and they can move at their own speed. And I think that's totally valid and totally like a preference that like why you came to the series to begin with.
Yeah.
But the great thing about Legends is you could do I'm going to roll behind you. I'm going to hit you with a sticky glob. I'm going to hit you in the back of the head with a heavy ball, and I'm going to catch you, and I'm going to keep on running, and that's great and fantastic. But the cool thing about Legends is I could just walk into the Pokemon, start a battle, and catch it the traditional way.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic that it had both options.
Yeah. I mean, I'm at this point, just give me Titans and Raids. I want to do the battle.
Battle's fun.
The battles can be super fun. They can be interesting puzzles. And then I just want the reward and move on with my life. I don't want to fail it because there's no real failing because you've saved it and you soft reset. I don't want to waste my time to do the inevitable. To do the thing that will happen. I just have to put time into it, which is just does not treat me well as a consumer and a customer of your product. You are not acknowledging or treating my time particularly well. It's like I always look at this like I will do a ton of raids in Scarlet and Violet, and I will also run the same dungeon over and over and over and over again in Final Fantasy because I know what the set rewards are. I know what I'm getting. I know I will get something that I need from these things. I know that I have a 10-minute time. This dungeon takes 10 minutes. At the end, I get my reward. This raid will take 5 minutes. At the end, I get a reward. That is just, I know what I'm doing. When I'm hunting legends, I will find them, and then I can spend the next 7 days trying to get this because RNG exists. And also, I'm running through an unknown amount of balls. Like, at what point do I say, well, I've put 30 luxury balls in here? That's so much money I have to remake in this game. I'm just going to restart because I'm just as likely to get it on the second ball as I am on the 90th. And I might as well, if I don't catch it the first time, just soft reset until the numbers match up. And that's also a terrible experience.
Yeah, I think Pokemon is still one of the only franchises where it's like, I gotta turn it off and turn it back.
Yep.
Yeah. Gosh.
Anyways, if you need something to do,
don't do that.
I do think reading what Snacksworth says and then finding them was super enjoyable to me. The one that he lied to me about was Glastrier. He said Glastrier is not near where he said it was, and that's maybe because the draw distance in that game is pretty bad.
Oh no. Oh, that's such a bad mistake to make.
When you get there and you're in the snow and you're looking for a white horse in the snow,
no,
and you're like, he says it's here and it's not, maybe just walk around a lot in that area. I had to look that one up because I was like, it's not here. Oh, the draw distance just isn't good. I needed to walk this way. Got it. Yeah, I think I do appreciate Scarlet and Violet more because I had to go back to not having everything unlocked, and the DLC, just like in Sword and Shield, the DLC really elevated those games. And when you go back to base game and everything is taken away from you, you're like, oh, I missed that.
And just like in Sword and Shield, you can see in Scarlet and Violet where they are improving things.
Yeah.
In the DLC. And
it's
exciting.
People are so excited that the Game Boy version of Mystery Dungeon is on the Switch. And I tried to play Yellow when it came back, and I'm like, going this far back in quality of life is so miserable. No, I cannot do this again.
Yeah, that's why it's like that. What a weird game. What out of all the mystery dungeons, what a weird one to put on, because you put the one you remade on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't like, it's not even the most popular one. Like, everybody knows the one that everybody wants to play.
Yeah.
All right. Last bit of news is they finally announced the community day for this upcoming week, which is Beldum, which is a bummer. It wasn't like a Pokemon that could Gigantamax or Gigantamax. That would have been like Ghastly, Squirtle, well, all the starters, but Ghastly, a couple other ones. Because we know that Gigantamax and Galar stuff is in the game.
Yep.
Code at this point, just because.
I mean, it's more than in the code; it's in the Dex.
Yeah, literally, you don't have to be a data miner to open up your Dex, and you can see that there's a get button for Dynamax now. So, we were unsure if they were holding out on Community Day because maybe it was going to lean into a Pokemon that could Gigantamax, like Ghastly, because I think Gigantamax Gengar would actually be a really great start to that. That being said, for whatever reason, they just waited last minute to say Beldum. Beldum, very popular Pokemon. Metagross, very popular Pokemon, but I don't know why they needed to wait till like 8 days before the Community Day Classic to be like, it's a Pokemon you've already caught before.
Yeah, just announce these things.
They did announce the next Community Days, so we'll just run them right through real quick. September 14th Saturday, September 14th, Saturday, October 5th, and then Sunday, November 10th. December is usually the like everyone community day. And then September 8th, Sunday, September 8th will be a raid day. Sunday, September 22nd will be a research day. Saturday, October 12th will be a raid day. And then Saturday, October 19th will be a research day. So very nice. They gave us, keep doing this. It's really appreciative when you like tell us what weekends we need to take off to dedicate to your silly game. That's very nice.
Or the weekends I know where my friends are going to be and I can decide.
Right. Yes. So always appreciate when Niantic does that, but that's your Pokemon Go news for the week. There will be quests for Pokemon Go at Worlds. Like I said, I think there's 2 quest lines. One gives you, I believe, an elite TM, which those are normally in like a $10 bundle. And then I think one gives you just like some competitive Pokemon like Sableye or like Dugong or whatever. I don't know. Whatever Pokemon are
You're a little
currently
behind. Yeah.
So if you care about that, those will be in the Twitch streams. I believe they will also be in my channel from what I've been told for drops. So literally, if you just open the stream and walk away from your computer, you'll come back and you'll get all those codes there. So, and I'll be streaming Community Day on Saturday in Hawaii. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what playing Pokemon Go in Hawaii looks like. I don't know what. At Yokohama, they decided to put Froakie Community Day during the finals matches. So it was like I couldn't even play Community Day in Japan because I was watching the finals. Like, and then they like apologized and like put a little like quest line for us after Community Day was over, so we could get like 50 Froakies through a quest line. But this is on Saturday for Beldum. We'll see what that looks like. If you want to see what that looks like, I'll be streaming it on Twitch. So I don't know what Community Day looks like in Hawaii. I wish I could have told you for Froakie, but I was in a hotel room. So we'll see what that looks like this weekend. Otherwise, that's all I have. I will be bringing my equipment to Hawaii to record immediately after Worlds. So, and then that will go up on Monday. So even though I'm traveling, we will not. If I get hit by a bus, I will make sure Greg or Hannah gets this podcast up. I don't know why it's always a bus.
Yeah, I mean, there's also trains, other cars.
There's trains. If I get stuck in the ocean on a boat, that's less death involved.
Yeah, slightly better.
I didn't say the bus would knock me out. I could just have a broken leg.
Yeah, but that wouldn't stop you from posting. Like, it has to be like
I could be in the
coma
hospital
territory.
Yeah.
I don't even think of the hospital. If you're conscious, you're like, give me a laptop.
Bring the laptop.
I got work to do. Sir,
Move
this
the
is
IV
surgery
over,
and you're
bring the
supposed to be
laptop.
under.
All right. If you want to see behind the scenes stuff for Hawaii, I will be uploading that to Patreon at the $5 level. You also get the ad-free episodes, the bonus episodes, all that stuff. I also posted, I took a film camera to Japan, and I took pictures of the Pikachu train with a film camera. It was the first time I've ever used a film camera, so they're not like amazing photos. It was like something I was trying to teach myself while I was there. But if you want to, but it makes the Pikachu train look more creepy because it's a film camera and it looks like it was taken in like 1980. So if you want to see that, that's...
Quit attacking me.
So if you want to see that, I only lost one roll of film.
Well, hey,
while I was there, that was pretty good.
That's pretty good. Did you do the classic? This is a new thing of film, and it's actually a thing you already took photos over, so you double exposed it, which my aunt did for an entire trip to Paris.
Oh no,
that sounds awesome. No, actually,
the pictures are great though, because you're like, why is Mona Lisa in the middle of the sun? But also, it's not great if you're trying to remember anything.
That sounds awesome. No, the first film I bought, which was here in Minneapolis, was like 36 shots. And when I got to Japan, I was like, oh, I didn't want to like bring a bunch of film just in case it got like damaged from the scanners. I was like, I'll just buy film when I get to Japan. So I bought film when I got there, and I didn't look at it because it was both Kodak, but their film was only 24 shots.
Yeah.
So when I got to the 24th shot, I thought it jammed. And I was like, I didn't realize it until I put the new roll in that I was like, oh, these are less shots. So it was at the end of the line, and I was like, oh, it's jamming. And I was like, everywhere I read, if it jams, you're kind of screwed. And I was like, okay, I need to switch out film because we're getting onto the Pikachu train. So I was like, we're gonna lose everything. And I like tried to save it. And then when I was putting the new film in, I was like, oh, it wasn't actually jammed. It was just done, and I didn't roll it. But I didn't realize I thought they were all just 36.
No.
The first one was 36, but the second one was 24.
That's the old scam that we used to get us with, the varying amount of shots on film.
So I thought it was pretty good, though. I took 3 rolls. I only lost 1 for my first time shooting because... But if you want to see that, that's on Patreon. Otherwise, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Hannah. We will see you guys next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are...
super effective.
Super preparing for Worlds in various ways. There are going to be so many things to do next weekend. Super effective.
I'm going to nap.